Master said, eyes good. Yeah.
What up, my nigga?
I'm a slave to the rhythm, a slave to the rhymes. The culture commands my mind at this moment of time. And I'm a slave to these women, the power of law. Slave to my bills, act free when I get in the store. Because I'm in those dreams where I'm enslaved by limousines. Master Philip Morris, lashed by nicotine. And us days, things that'll happen, we let them because we just slaves. Fighting for masses' attention. I'm a slave to these CDs, making them on all topics. Slave to TV, I turn it on and don't watch it. Slave to your look from pages and books, gaze at this mess, and you became a slave to the soot. I'm a slave in my ways, a slave in my thoughts. Say what you say, though I won't stay a slave to your talk. Slave that I am, a slave I will be, lynched by my own hand. See the slave on the tree.
Slave
is how I'm living. A slave to all my silly mistakes and all my winnings. A slave to all women. A slave to the rhythm. A slave to the system. A slave to religion. A slave to addiction. A slave to the hunger. I do what it says. It makes me just wanna be a slave to the bread and be a slave to the DJ, slave to the clubs, to be a slave to the praise when you graze on red rugs. And not a slave to the basics, it's a slave to his oasis. When I'm a slave to her oasis and the way she can shake it. Slave to the faces that we put on in places. And I'm a slave to my faith and you a slave to your faith. And she a slave to your dope like a slave on a boat. Tied up a low ceiling and you gave him the rope, made him the oar, met him at shore. Slave to the government, slave to my Timberlands, that's all I'm trucking with. Hate your job and feel like a slave that could quit. Just leave and take the map from the sum of my bitch. Slave to the kings, king by the slaves. Slave to the 16s, I'm enslaved by the state. Slave is how I'm living. A slave to all my silly mistakes and all my winnings. A slave to all women. A slave to the rhythm. A slave to the system. A slave to religion. A slave to addiction. A slave. Rants and ravings, I'm a slave to my cravings. Slave to fashion, slave to my clothing and shaving. My master images, a slave to my eyes. As these historical truths hide, a slave to the lies. Mind enslaved by the why, subdued by the reasons, soothed by the high, abusing its freedoms. It's how you handle it, enslaved by management. Bad decisions when I didn't make a Spanish cent. Slave to A&Rs, holding my fame. If I hear it, should I respond? Don't you on my name? And you a slave to record labels, slave to pro teams. Trades amongst the owners, trained in protein. Slave to all addiction, saved and get religion. Prayed and get to picking, and caged and ghetto living. Slave that I am, slave I will be, lynched by my own hand. See the slave on the tree. A slave is how I'm living. A slave to all my silly mistakes and all my winnings. A slave to all women. A slave to the rhythm. A slave to the system. A slave to religion. A slave to addiction. A slave.
When it comes to this, I've been through more shit than the toilet. Damn, it shouldn't have to be like that. Be like that.
Imagine life without a choice at all. Imagine life. Imagine life without a choice at all. Imagine life without a choice at all.